I am Professor Rohit Chatrath from Jalandhar city of Punjab. Today I am going to talk about comprehension. Now let's first understand the meaning of the word comprehension. The word comprehension derives from the word comprehend, which means to understand. Hence, comprehension means to go through a text, a word on page, in order to understand its meaning. Now, dear students, it is never easy to understand the meaning of a comprehension because the meaning is abstract, hidden, and sometimes one has to dig out the meaning. One has to unlock the meaning of the comprehension. Now, I'll share few tips, strategies, and techniques in order to understand the meaning of a comprehension. A comprehension is read, reread, and reread. It is not possible or it is not likely that whenever you are going through a text, you will be able to understand the text fully well or you will be able to solve all the questions. But even if you are not, nothing to worry. Just take a chill pill. Why? Because whenever you are going through a passage, all you need is focus, concentration, and unidirectional approach towards the text. First of all, we have to read the text, underline the key points, underline the emphasis that the author is making on key vocabulary, because understanding the vocabulary leads to understanding the text. When it comes to the questions, we must understand first the passage, then we should move on to the questions, and finally, when you are absolutely confirmed and sure that you have understood the passage, then go for solving the comprehension. And sometimes there will be some questions which you don't understand. Suppose there is a passage and it contains 6 or 7 questions. You have solved 3 or 4, you don't know the next 2. No need to worry, no need to fear at all. Why? Because you can come back to those questions later on. Right? Today I'm going to substantiate the same from the passage of an exercise book, and this is about the study of English. The passage is about, I shall read it out for you. The study of English still is and always will be of great importance in India because in many ways it is extremely useful both to individuals and the country. Even a clerk in an office is likely to get on better and has a better chance of promotion if he can write correct English, right? I have read out only the first 2 sentences. Now, what will happen in this particular comprehension? Look at the first question. Look at the first question. The first question is, how is the study of English important both to individuals and the country? Now, when we solve the comprehension, it is absolutely most important and very significant fact that you must not replicate the answers from the passage. If you do this, if you adopt this kind of tendency, you will lose marks because the examiner is trained enough. He can understand that you have taken the pale word from the passage itself. Hence, what you will do, you will try to answer the questions in your own words by understanding the passage, not by making the pale copy, not by the repetition. Now, how is the study of English important both to individuals and the country? The second question will be, how can the study of English be useful in helping the exports and imports of the country? That is, the first question is a general question. Everybody knows that why is English important both to individuals and to the country. The second question pertains business, particularly the export and import business, right? So whenever we will be answering this question, we have to generalize, we have to think about business and in terms of business, how our imports and exports take place. Now it's very common sense and quite a general thinking that quite a general topic. Everybody knows that exports and imports take in the place across the national international boundaries. Well, in order to deal across the international boundaries, suppose we are Indians and we have to deal with Australians, Americans, or Britishers, what shall we make use of? Of course, English, because they can't understand Hindi, and what they can understand will be what we can speak, and it is the common language, Hindi, which works as a unifying link between the eastern countries, that is, which consists of India, and the western countries as well. Now, the second question should be answered not exactly from the passage, but of course, your sense should remain the same. The third question will be, how can the study of English help India in her role in the political field? How can the study of English help India in her role in the political field? Now, the first question was about individuals and country in general. The second question was about business. How does English work as a communicative tool in order to help the businessmen dealing across the boundaries, particularly the international boundaries? Now, third question means related to political field. Hence, you have to take off your imagination, your focus from exports, imports, that is the business, to political field. Now we can take exactly from the passage itself. The passage that I had left was, for instance, in industry and commerce, we must have dealings with other countries, since we need both to export our own goods and to import goods from abroad if India is to prosper. Now, an intelligent student who wishes to get more marks won't write the same answer from the text. What he will write is, he will write, English can play a very important role in the business that takes place across the international boundaries. There is the exports and imports. Why? Because English is the only common link, only unifying link that can help Indians or Easterns by extension in order to get communicated, in order to be intelligible to the Western people, to the Western businessman. Now, third, how can the study of English help India in her role in the political field? Now you have to talk about the political arena. India is the battlefield. India is the famous arena of politics. Two major political parties have been jostling for votes, jostling for democracy over the years here in this country, which is known as the largest country, largest democracy in the world. Now, India has been playing a greater and greater part since English is an international language. It is used in political discussions and correspondence. Now, he has only mentioned one sentence, political discussions and correspondence. Now, an intelligent student who knows how to understand the passage well, who has originality, who has creativity, who knows how to apply his own focus and imagination, he will be able to knit up the answer. Yes, you heard it right. You got me right. You have to knit up the answer. You have to create your own answer. Now, in answering this question, how can the study of English help India in her role in the political field, you could talk about the facts very briefly, like English, like discussions in Parliament. They take place in English. The discussion on budget always takes place in English. Whenever the politicians from southern part of India meet the northern part or the western part, they are not able to understand one another or each other's language. Now, what they do use is English language only. Hence, English plays a critical role, a very important role when it comes to political arena as well. Suppose the politicians of north, that is Delhi or Punjab or Haryana or Himachal, they wish to communicate with the politicians of the west, say Chennai, Kerala, or for that matter Bengaluru or Karnataka. What they can understand, how they can understand each other, they can attain intelligibility or understanding or comprehension by the way of English only. Now, what will you do? You will write about importance of English in the political field. You could talk about how English helps in connecting center and state, that is the governance of India, e-governance of India. Now, overall speaking, this passage is quite simple. It contains only 3 questions. There must be passages which must be large one, that must be containing more answers, and sometimes what happens, the answer seems that the answer is absolutely straight, but it doesn't happen for reality. Now, reading a comprehension and solving it is generally like an oasis. Yes, you heard it right, oasis. An oasis is a place in a desert land, in a desert, where the traveler from a distance looks at the land or the sand shines, and he believes that he can see water, the stream of water. But when he comes closer, he finds, or he comes to know, that it was not water, but it was the sand which was shining. It was the other way around. Similarly, it happens with the students also, those who try to solve the comprehension. So in order to solve the comprehension, you must ward off yourself, prevent yourself from getting caught in the oasis of meaning. The oasis of meaning will be that by reading the comprehension, by understanding, by solving the questions, or by looking at the comprehension from the very first eye, you would be able to understand, yes, I can solve it, I have got the answers. But sometimes it's not possible, and sometimes the answer lies somewhere else. Now, moving on to another comprehension, I won't take it longer. Now, let's look at another passage. This time the passage is about one of heaven's best gifts to man is humor, for it adds innocent pleasure to life, both in health and sickness, and helps to promote good feeling among people in their daily dealing with one another. Right? So this is the passage. Now, the first question in this passage is, why is humor regarded as one of heaven's best gifts? Now, the very first sentence contains the meaning. If you take straight away the meaning from the text or from the passage itself and write it in your answer sheet, the examiner will come to know that you didn't try to apply your imaginative mind or the creative faculty of your mind. You must have literal thinking, and if you possess, you must profess it. Now, an intelligent student won't write like this, why is humor regarded as heaven's best gifts? You could simply write that humor is a great blessing to mankind. It is not easy to laugh and make others laugh. If one can achieve this feat by laughing himself and making others laugh, that will be an absolute tremendous gift given by the God to the man. Why? Because humor is the biggest medicine for stress bursting, for de-stressing yourself, for removing the stress and the depression of the daily lives. You could write something like this. Now the next is, what is the difference between wit and humor? Think for a moment what life would be if there were no humor or wit in the world, no laughter or fun. Now, humor is not the same thing as wit. Wit is concerned chiefly with words, while humor deals with situation. So, you could write the answer that wit concerns with your answers, with playing with words is called wit, and humor will be turning on the situation, turning the tables in the situations. The situation was not hilarious enough, but you turned it in order to make others laugh. That will be called humor. But wit is when you start playing with your words. I hope these 2 examples will be enough to understand the reading and the comprehension. Well, it is an art which needs more and more practice, and as we have heard the dictum that practice makes the man perfect, you should stick to the same practice. There is the tendency of reading and practicing more and more. I hope this video will clarify absolutely everything about comprehension. But whenever you feel doubt, you could come to me anytime. You are most welcome for your doubts, queries, and questions. Thank you. Thanks a lot.